Hey, Heather.
Hello.
I'm so excited to sit with you today and talk about your photography journey and just business journey and life journey. Your story is so amazing. Your work is amazing. You know, I've been a fan for so long. But before we dive in, just tell everybody who you are, what your business is, and how long you've been in business.
So I'm Heather Payne. I'm a destination wedding photographer. I shoot film, so I'm a film photographer. I have been in business for 8 years. How? I don't know how. And yeah, so I'm located in North Carolina.
I love that. I
Yeah.
know. Isn't it funny? We met each other 4 years ago.
Seems like so long.
Almost 5 years ago. We were just babies. I mean, I was just launching my business. Heather came to the very first Blueprint retreat, which was called Inspired Conferences.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Oh, love branding journey.
Best.
It was fabulous. It was so wonderful. That's a story for another day of how I had like 300 followers. I was like, I'm going to launch a workshop. It worked out. So we've journeyed together for a long time. It's amazing. So today I really want to talk about how you got into destination events, kind of just talking about what you've learned about money through your journey. And I would love to kind of go back to 2014 and what everybody was telling you at that time when you were really launching this business and doing photography from a very small town in North Carolina.
Yeah. So small. I love this town though. We live in farm country, so it's awesome. So yeah, at the time when I came to Inspire, was what it was called. I think I was at the place where I knew that I could go one of two ways. I could either take on as much work, burn myself to death doing all the smaller, low budget stuff, or like I needed a strategy on how to break out and do what I knew would really inspire me long term. Mm-hmm. So that's when you came in. You really helped me. So we sat down and we did the one-on-one strategy sessions, and you were like, you just need to write down 5 places that you want to go to. And like, I did. And it's so crazy to think back now because like Italy was like number 1 on there. I was like, how the heck am I going to go to Italy? You know, and then I made it happen. I think one of the big things, during my journey, I started off doing photography full time. And I was doing a lot of portrait sessions, a lot of smaller stuff. Still trying to do weddings, but they were all very local, very spread out kind of thing. And then, so I didn't want to do the local stuff for long. I ended up getting a part-time job. So I took this part-time job because everyone was saying, you know, you need to do this. And I need to pay my bills. So I got this part-time job, and it was seriously a godsend. Through that entire journey, and even like the years after that, everyone was saying, you know, quit your part-time job, you need to do this full-time. And I really from the time that we met, I had a strategy. If I can do this slowly and build this slowly, then hopefully I will avoid burnout. Mm-hmm. And hopefully I will be able to build something that inspires me and that I'm proud of. And that's exactly what it allowed me to do. So It's been a long time coming, from 2014.
Yeah. But you've had a part-time job since then.
Yeah.
For people look at I think a lot of people are probably surprised to hear you say that you've maintained a part-time job, but that gave you the freedom. So we sat down and you said, I want to be a destination wedding photographer and film. Did you start in film?
No, I started in digital, but that was for 1 year. I was just in digital. And then that's when I realized that, you know, I wanted to shoot film. That's what I was falling in love with. And then that comes the overhead costs, all the costs in film. So that's when I needed to do the part-time job.
And you knew that your markets, I think there's just a reality of your market at that time, and probably maybe even still today, would not support the type of work you wanted to do. And instead of trying to fit, that square peg round hole, I need to do destination.
Yes.
So we sat down and we're like, what are these 5 destinations you want to go to? I love that you did that. But having that part-time job is how you afforded to do those things. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. And thinking back on it, like when I first started, my starting price for portraits and even weddings would not have even covered my costs on what I shoot on, like what it costs to photograph a wedding on film. So that's the reason I needed to build this. I knew that if I did digital photography and just, shot everything that came my way, that for one, I wouldn't love my work. 2, I would get burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed to do something that really inspired me. And so having the part-time job really did help me I kept everything that I made in the business. And that's, you helped me do that. You helped me see that and keep it, legal and, really have a financial strategy too. So I was able to do that and then really pour into my strategy on photography.
Yeah, I think this is just an amazing story, Heather, because your work is incredible. And I think clearly what was most important to you, what was success to you, was doing work that you love. And Elizabeth Gilbert, I think, says this so beautifully, talking about don't make your creativity pay the bills. And she's a big advocate for part-time jobs or jobs while you're building creativity. And I think I'm so glad you're just speaking to giving permission to people who, for you, that has worked out so perfectly. And you have you ever felt shamed because I'm not a real business owner because
I'm working all the time. Nobody knows that I have a part-time job.
Thanks for spilling the beans.
Yeah. I don't know when the day is going to come when that isn't a thing.
Yeah.
It's for one, the part-time job is the easiest part-time job, and it fits well with my schedule and all of that. I literally could not have done this from where I started and ended where I am now if I did not have the people who were behind me even at that job,
Yeah.
So,
and you found the right fit. And tell us tell us now, where are all the destinations you've shot weddings? And anybody looking at your work, I think would be like, I love that business. You could support yourself with your business, but how freeing to you that you have something stable that you're not, you just show up for, and allows you not to take on jobs you don't want to take on. So tell me first, where all have you traveled?
So I've been to Italy, which was probably my favorite place. I love California. I love the West Coast. It's so different than the East Coast. The mountains they're so captivating. Actually, probably the Amalfi Coast and the West Coast have a lot in common anyways. But let's see, all throughout, I've Colorado, Aspen, all these larger, high-end, places where people are willing to bring in, destination, creatives.
And how would you say taking this approach in your business has allowed you to take on work that it gives you freedom to say no? Will you talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, it's really helped me to build relationships over anything. Even from the beginning, yes, I love photography. I love shooting. I love meeting people. I think that's the thing that's always kind of drove me to do what I do. So no matter what, helping me, in building on the creative side, building the portfolio and doing collaborations and, having things that I'm able to do and, shooting personal work, but bringing on other creatives that are, it's such a lonely thing being a creative anyways and being an entrepreneur. So to be in align with some other creatives along the way is just so liberating, and it feels so great to lift up other people too. So that's been a huge thing for me. I think I got sidetracked.
No, I love that just because your whole story feels very freeing to me. I feel just a little bit of a burden lifting. And I think so often as, I support our family too, you have to bring in income for your family. That can feel like a lot of pressure. And I think just by the choices you've made, you chose a business model that fits who you are and what you want to create. And you do all destination. You choose how many events you do a year. You choose who you work with. I think that's just incredibly, incredibly important. How do
Yeah.
you feel like we talked about a little bit earlier, like you've learned to play the long game with your
Yeah.
business?
Yeah. I think when everybody, whenever I was on my journey, which I still am, but like everyone was like, um, they were telling me to do the full-time thing. And I just didn't see how that would play out. It's so crazy to think about it. Not everybody, a lot of people that I looked up to whenever I first started are no longer in business. Like, it's so crazy whenever it's so that baffles me for one thing. Like all these people have moved on to different things. They're in the corporate world now. Like what the heck,
Yeah.
Like you had an amazing gift. What are you doing? But they they had burnout. Just couldn't figure it out. And I think like with the 8 years of business that I've been in, like the things that I wish I could tell myself 4 or 5 years ago is that the short-term success, like the wanting to be published and wanting to be, just like trying to do it all, that's not sustainable for one. And like long term, like I have the rest of my life to build this thing,
Yes. Yep.
And these people are going to fade out, and not everybody is going to continue. But like I want to have a legacy,
Mm-hmm.
So I think now I'm looking more towards that and try to be super honed in on what my future looks like, the possibility of kids and all this stuff. Yeah, and for me now, like I live on a farm. I love farm life. Like I grew up on a farm. We have dogs. I have a garden. Like I love being here. All of our family lives around us. So like community is huge for me, and I'm able to just like close the office, close the house, be gone for a weekend, travel across the world, see a new place, and then come back home and like, or when I get to share that with my husband too, and my family who goes with me. So yeah, it's just, I'm being like a lot more self-aware, I think now. And I think that journey I've been on for the past 2 years, that's helped me really see like who I am and why I'm different, and how this industry is, understanding it from being in it, and like how I can change and not have to like follow that same path.
Yeah.
That
And keep up. And tired. Leaves you tired.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
When we were starting, social media was just starting, and now I'm published here and I'm here and I went here, and it's just like I love that you're focused on like this is what I'm trying to build, and you're building what you wanted.
It's helped me so much to just let go of the noise. It's so easy to get burnout and seeing what everyone else is doing, but like really being true to yourself and being like, being able to just be super aware of who you are and where you're trying to go, and have a plan, and then being okay, like, on the journey, loving the journey more than you like, the instant
need
success.
the destination. Yeah.
Right.
Will you wrap us out with telling me what would you say is the best thing that you've learned about money?
Oh, goodness. Money doesn't lead to happiness. Chasing money does not lead to happiness. That's not, when you're in, on your deathbed, it's not going to be, I wish I had more money.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that.
Yeah. I love that. Heather, I love your story. Thank you so much for sharing just that you took care of the financial need and let your creativity be creative. And now it can provide for you. How cool is that? If you wanted to. But you gave it time. And I think so often we try to make it fit the first 2 years and pay all of our bills, and that pressure is what kills it. So I think you just gave a ton of people permission to take it a little slower, play the long game. You're the best. Thanks for hanging out today. And just so thankful for you.
Love you.